All right, so this is the Xiaomi Mi Note 10, and it's pretty incredible. 5 cameras. So we love cameras, we love cell phone cameras across the board. We love checking out new devices and seeing what they can do, seeing how the camera is. I've never checked out a Xiaomi device before, so I was super excited when the opportunity came up to check out the Xiaomi Mi Note 10, this new flagship. We wanted to see what this 5 camera business was all about, so we headed to a classic hike in Seattle, Rattlesnake Ledge. Taylor flew in and we took this out, took it for a spin, and really saw what it could do. You'll just be back there waving. All right, y'all, we are at the trailhead for Rattlesnake with the Mi Note 10. We are gonna see what we can get, video and photos on this trail. Let's do this, let's hike. All right, so let's start out with the most obvious thing. When you look at this phone, you see 5 cameras, the penta camera design, and it's pretty wild how much Xiaomi has been able to pack inside of this device. So let's walk through what each camera has. So starting at the top here, you have a 5x optical zoom with an f2 aperture and OIS. Next lens down, you have a 12 megapixel 2x tele lens, also with an f2 aperture. The third lens down is your main camera, and really what sets this phone apart. It is a 108 megapixel main camera with an f1.69 aperture and a large sensor. 108 megapixels though, it's wild. Now you can blow your photos up and print them on the side of your house. It's actually impressive the amount of detail this 108 megapixel camera can pick up. I would say it's the sharpest cell phone camera I've ever used and retains the most amount of detail. So below that, not in this main camera cluster, is the ultra wide lens. This is a 20 megapixel, 117 degree field of view camera, f2.2 aperture. So you have a really nice ultra wide with 20 megapixels still and a pretty fast aperture. Right underneath that, you have that tiny dot. That's a macro lens built in. So you can get extremely close to your subject. This little guy kicks in macro mode. But how do the photos and video actually look? You can have specs for days, you can look at this camera cluster and think, wow, they're gonna look good, but do they actually look good? How are the colors, the dynamic range? Check these out. What impressed us most right off the bat was how sharp those 108 megapixel photos looked. Whether you're looking at it on the Mi Note 10 on screen and zooming in, they hold up really nicely, or you bring them onto your computer and they look great just blown up as a wallpaper. You're able to zoom in with more clarity than I've seen from any other smartphone, and that could be the megapixels, but it's also the sensor size. It all comes together and looks really good from that main camera. You can say we're enjoying it, but tired. How's it going?
Go at the good photographs, make sure you go to the upper ledge.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh. Look at that view.
It's unreal.
Sick.
We have the phone. We're gonna test out some like zoom stuff. This view is crazy, so we're just gonna use all the lenses and see what it can do.
The other thing we noticed was how good the optical zoom is on this phone. Optical zoom. You have a dedicated 2x and 5x optical zoom lens, meaning optical, it's not digital, you're actually getting real lens quality zoom, so it holds up really well with the details. If you push it past 5x, it goes to 10x and up to 50x. Image doesn't like hold up as well clarity-wise, you're gonna lose a lot of sharpness, but it is really fun to basically have a telescope built into your phone. Now let's talk about video. As a filmmaker myself and working at Moment, I know how important having the option for different focal lengths is when you're out shooting video. So having the ultra wide, you're having the tele, the main camera, it all plays into the story you're telling. On this camera, I found my favorite settings to be the main camera. Just in video mode, it looked so sharp with that 108 megapixel large sensor. You're actually getting natural depth of field like I haven't seen in most other smartphones, which is cool. With that larger sensor. It shoots 4K 30 across all of the lenses. That honestly is really impressive because sometimes with these built-in tele lenses or these ultra wides or even this tiny little macro, once you get into those different lenses, the video quality usually cuts down a little bit. So it shoots 4K across all the lenses, which is a really nice touch. You can also shoot some really slow frame rates on this phone. You can do 960 frames per second, 120, and 240 frames per second. Those are all gonna be in 720p, so not as sharp as 4K obviously, but they're there, they're super fun to use, and you know, throw that up on social, no worries. So also in video mode, you're getting great optical image stabilization. So you're able to get walking handheld shots that look really good. I don't know how phones are doing it these days where you can basically walk super smooth with the ultra wide and basically get like you're shooting on a gimbal. It looks really impressive. I think because I've never shot 5x zoom for video, it looks really cool, like super long lens. We had some driving shots where the OIS kicked in and you're basically sitting in the front seat of your car, just shooting out the window and getting like long lens, well stabilized footage that actually looked really cool. So I think that was one of my favorite things was actually shooting with the longer focal length on this. The ultra wide's awesome too, but that long lens looks pretty sick. All right, so Taylor's shooting some more photos and we're wrapping up down here, up here, and we're gonna go get some iced lattes because we've been waiting. The next day we went out to shoot a little bit more and we walked around kind of the city, but we found this vintage car on the side of the road and Taylor wanted to take some sweet photos of it. One of our favorite kind of photo hacks you can do for smartphones that have really good portrait mode, the Mi Note 10 has awesome portrait mode and actually some of the best edge detection I've ever seen in a smartphone. But what we do is actually we shoot it a lot of just photos of like this car window or this open sign. There's some random photos where you can actually get the camera to know what the subject is and then the rest has nice natural fall off. So you're getting a really DSLR looking photo with that bokeh because you're not having just a super obvious portrait shot of like an object. Dude, that looks so good.
Yeah, portrait mode.
Whoa, that with the leaf?
Yeah.
Sick. Taylor's killing it with the photos.
So I'm actually shooting portrait mode here to get details of the car, just because it'll give the photo just some nice depth. It'll blur the background, even if just slightly, and that's what's really gonna kind of take these photos to the next level. And
they're looking good.
Yeah, it won't look
Here,
like
let's see it.
phone photography.
Shoot one in real.
Okay. So like these seats, for example, in regular mode would be there, but in portrait, get some beautiful depth.
What? All right, so thank you Xiaomi for letting us check this awesome phone out and working with you guys a little bit on this review video. This has been really fun shooting with this phone and definitely something I want to keep in the arsenal. Incredible 5-camera system. If this is something you're interested in and can get in your country, check it out. It's a pretty awesome flagship. And their whole Dare to Discover campaign is happening right now. So Mi Note 10, awesome 5-camera penta camera setup. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment. Thanks for checking out this video and it helped you with knowing more about this camera. All right, see you guys.